Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to the Voice of the Times, brought to you this Tuesday, March 1, 2022 by Wilcon Depot, the country's leading home improvement and construction supplies retailer. Shop conveniently 24/7 with Wilcon online store. Just go to shop.wilcon.com.ph. For today's editorial, the specter of a global cyber war. The war in the Ukraine is not only raging on the ground, it is also being fought in cyberspace. Even before Russian troops swarmed into the Ukraine, Moscow's army of hackers was already attacking that country's internet infrastructure, disrupting banking and government operations, and spreading misinformation to confuse and sow fear among the populace. Russia has, in effect, fielded a cyber force to soften enemy resistance ahead of an actual invasion. Once just a staple theme for science fiction films, cyber warfare is now a real threat. Some futurists even predict a global cyber war that could destroy entire economies and lead to a digital ice age. Such an apocalyptic scenario may be too fanciful for the moment. Still, it is difficult to ignore the fact that cyber attacks have been increasing and getting more sophisticated. Russia has mastered the dark art of hacking, although it is too modest or secretive to acknowledge it. One malware, NotPetya, infected computers around the world in 2017, causing more than $10 billion in damage. The malware was traced to Sandworm, the hacking unit of the Russian intelligence service. Last year, a ransomware attack knocked out the internet of Colonial Pipeline, a US oil pipeline system. The ransomware was believed to have been the creation of DarkSide, a hacking group said to be based in Russia. If they actually focused these types of activity against the West, that could have very real economic consequences, one cybersecurity researcher warned. China, which has closed ranks with Russia against the US-led Western alliance, may be also flexing its cyber muscle. Taiwan has been experiencing 20 million to 40 million cyber attacks every month, and many of them originated from our neighbor. The chief of Taiwan's Department of Cybersecurity has told CNN. The operation of our government highly relies on the internet, the official said. Our critical infrastructure, such as gas, water, and electricity, are highly digitized, so we can easily fall victim if our network security is not robust enough. The West has so far been on the defensive, content with parrying the attacks, but after Russia's cyber incursions in the Ukraine, the US feels it is time to strike back. NBC News has reported that President Joe Biden has been presented with a range of options that will allow the US to launch cyber attacks to derail the Russian juggernaut in the Ukraine. The options include shutting down internet systems across Russia, NBC said. A US official said, "Our response will be harsh and measured, but not so severe as to encourage Vladimir Putin to take more drastic steps. If Biden signs off on the options, it will be the first time the US will openly admit it has its own cyber weapons arsenal. Cyber weapons are going to be used in a way we haven't used other weapons," said an American cyber expert. An executive of a cybersecurity firm noted the US and many other countries engage in intelligence gathering operations in cyberspace, but no one has declared that activity an all-out cyber war. However, we are in a new era with the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. What happens when a cyber war breaks out? Experts believe that critical infrastructure would be prime targets. Potentially, you could lose clean water, electricity, and financial markets, to name a few, one of them said. The US will probably suffer minimal damage because it has built up a robust defensive shield. It's the private sector that will be especially vulnerable. Only large corporations that can afford to constantly upgrade their anti-malware software will be sufficiently protected. A study in 2019 places the Philippines as the fifth country extremely vulnerable to cyber attacks. It noted the social media in the country has a huge following, yet data protection mechanisms are weak or missing. A digital security researcher said the growth in ransomware and attacks over the past decade should have put private and public entities on alert to revamp their security postures, deploy new layers and tools, train staff, and continually improve their processes. We have no choice but to prepare for the gathering cyber storm. And that's editorial for Tuesday, March 1, 2022. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to our digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to the Voice of the Times.